All right. To whatever tree in North Carolina is making this awful yellow pollen that is everywhere, just reach out. I just want to talk, is all. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And I finally got Jasper's deck list. So thank you to Jasper. I think originally their PayPal message just got cut short, so I didn't get the link. And today we are playing with the king of meme deck lists, Leylines. So this is an old Legacy meme deck list. You want to start the game with some number of Leylines in play. 4 is the ideal number. And most of the time, it doesn't exactly matter what the Leyline does. What matters is that it is a mana cost 4 enchantment. Our ultimate game plan here is to cast an Opalescence and then turn Leylines sideways to defeat our opponents. This is normally accomplished by having 4 Leylines in play, tapping a Serra Santum for 4 mana, and then playing an Opalescence. You can convert a different land into Serra Sanctum via crop rotation. That is perfectly valid. And we do have some backup plans in this deck that are a little bit cheeky. We are a Leyline of the Void deck, which means that we can just combo with Helm of Obedience as well. So Leyline plus Helm is a way to steal a win. So is Scion of Draco plus Leyline of the Guild Pact. So we have some backdoor strategies to win here. In looking at the deck list, I am unsure how sold I am on Ancient Tomb over just another green colored source here because of how important crop rotation is. I understand that Ancient Tomb is 2 mana towards Opalescence, though. I think green for these spells matters more. We're gonna do a little switcheroo there, I think. Do I want yet another Savannah for when I board in all the Deafening Silences for opposing combos? Sure. Now, there is one card that I want to highlight for those of you that want to be a crazy person like me and play with Leylines. And that is Bello, Bard of the Brambles. Many moons ago, I played a Yorion Leylines build that was running both Bello and Opalescence, and I felt like Bello was quite good, and I was very happy with Bello. Today's deck is doing something a little bit different in terms of resources. I'm not going to just jam Bello in here, but in the back of my mind throughout this league, I'm going to be thinking, would I be happier like losing Enlightened Tutor or losing crop rotation or losing Helm to be playing Bello instead? That's something that I'm going to just kind of passively think about over the course of this league. And with that being said, let's just go ahead and jump into the matches here. Folks, if you realize you need any cards for this deck or another deck, please check out my sponsor, toamagic.com. Use promo code ThrabenU when you do. You'll save 5% on your order. And whether you need sweet Tarkir Dragonstorm cards or sweet old Black Border cards, TOA will probably have them both. With that being said, let's battle. We're memeing hard today. We're going to try to live the dream. Games are going to be fast, one way or another. Okay, so opening hand has Opalescence and Leylines, but no way to get my mana. So instead of a traditional mulligan, we are going to do a Serum Powder mulligan here. Second hand has Leylines, the ability to get Serra's Sanctum, but no Opalescence. Or sorry, other way around. So we have the ability to get Opalescence. I do not have the ability to get there in terms of mana. We're just going to powder this one again. How about this one? I have 4 Leylines. I have Leyline plus Helm. I'm really missing out in the mana department without something like a crop rotation. This is my first real mulligan, despite the fact that, a third of my deck is in exile. Let's mulligan to 6. We can now powder this hand. We're going to put 1 card back into the deck. I think I'm going to put a okay, I guess I have to care about this. So there's 2 E-Tutors gone already. Let's put an E-Tutor back into the deck then. This is on the right track. Let's keep this one. I think at some point we have to keep a hand and hope to draw into something else. So this one is going to start with 2 Leylines in play. This produces 2 of the mana that I need towards a Helm of Obedience. I can also Enlighten Tutor my way towards something else relevant to do. A Wasteland is pretty much a loss on the spot, though. I just want to try to draw a mana source here. Negative. Let's see what my opponent's got going on. Edge Maze. We're potentially playing against Nadu. Very potentially. Could be Nadu. You know, hard to tell. That is more Leylines. It's not quite what I'm looking for. All right, my opponent has assembled their combo. We are not technically dead to this, but I'm going to concede to this. Our plan has not worked. What do we want to do in terms of sideboarding here? I think I want Scion of Draco. Let's go up another fair mana source here. Let's go down the expensive and slow Helm of Obediences. And we'll go down some Leylines of some kind. I could really think about which Leyline it's supposed to be, or we could whack the submit button. This is 5 Leylines in play with 2 lands. This is a fine hand that can't actually do anything to win. Let's fish a little harder than just that. This is a Leyline of the Guild Pact that potentially sets up double Scion of Draco. This one I like. Thinking about it last game, there was one Lotus Petal that I technically could have Enlightened Tutored for. That's not the most exciting thing in the world, though. Let's play our land and pass. I need 1 more mana source, which is actually a little bit of an ask when playing this deck. We are light on it. Womp womp. We'll see if our opponent just goldfishes us. Windswept Heath. Anyway, let's try this again in round 2. We don't win from that position. Okay, opening hand has 2 Leylines, so that is 2 mana, 3 mana towards Helm of Obedience and or Enlightened Tutor or Opalescence. I'm going to say that this is fine. An opponent says hello to YouTube. So we're going to start with 2 Leylines in play. I'm going to Mana Confluence pass, and I think just upkeep Enlightened Tutor. Play around Force of Negation that way. Opalescence on top. Bobble. Okay, well, opponent can see exactly what we put on top. Although, honestly, they already could have seen that from the fact that I revealed it when I tutored it. So now I only have 2 mana towards casting Serum Powder to get me to my 4th mana. Not great. We're also playing against a tempo deck that can very likely just daze our Opalescence. Okay. So we're chilling. We do not want to be chilling against tempo. We want to already have resolved Opalescence. This fetch land is going to trigger the Descend ability. Oh, no bueno. No bueno. We're not fully out of this yet, but things are looking bad. Dark Ritual. Okay, so our opponent is not a traditional Dimir tempo deck. I think this is straight up just a Surveil land in a mono black deck. Sure. I'm taking 3. Opponent redraws. I am then taking 6. I think now we're donezo. Douthie, sure. Thoughtseize on top of that. This hand was not good enough. Should I have mulliganed it? Unclear. But I am now dead. Scion of Draco seems reasonable to do again. Let's board in that Savannah. Let's go out the Rip Helm stuff. Go down some Leylines. You're not countering my stuff. And try that. This hand has 3 Leylines and Opalescence, but no mana. Let's powder this one. This hand is 1 card away from being nutty. A Serra Sanctum or any mana source that lets me put Scion in play is probably fine here. Crop Rotation also does it. Enlightened Tutor for Petal does it, but slowly. Let's try to keep this one. We'll start with 4 Leylines in play, and this land isn't actually going to hurt us. We'll see if we just lose one of our key cards to Thoughtseize here. but opponent can't take them both. I mean, it's not like they have a card that just randomly makes me discard two cards, right? That would be crazy. Damping Sphere. Fuck, Damping Sphere. I am so incredibly upset right now. Look at this. Look at this. One colorless. Rude. What a pull. A new bauble. That makes my opponent's stuff more expensive too. Okay, I mean, 3 of 4. And if it hits play, I will hit like a truck. Man, these wastelands are good against me though. Now, this is not going to grow because we did shut off the graveyard here. I'm just taking 1. Bowmaster is fine. And the chances of me drawing 2 mana sources here are pretty low. Serra's Sanctum not producing more than 1 mana here is really rough. I think I am likely to get clocked out. Yeah, this is just a 2-turn clock. I don't believe I have any outs now. And a Goyf. That's still a 3-4 despite the fact that I've had a Leyline in play the entire game. Yeah, I don't make it around the table to do the Enlightened Tutor stuff. We're down yet again. We'll see if this underdog deck can pull through. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists, and they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. So the opening hands are really tricky to evaluate here. I have 3 mana towards Opalescence. I have 2 Leylines. Am I supposed to high roll higher than this? Or do I just want to go and try to crop rotation for Serra's Sanctum and just do all of this on turn 3? Is attacking for 8 on turn 3 good enough? Let's hope so. Note that this is creature spells can't be countered, so my crop rotation can still be countered. So let's throw a Savannah in play and pass the turn. Island, Soul Guide Lantern, that's fine. Ooh, we just naturally drew it. That's great. This is not the 3 or 4 Leylines that we would like to have. You just, pop off as quickly as possible. But this is still fine. I would like to get a feel for what my opponent is playing. So, I don't currently know whether or not I need to be playing around days. I think I'm going to pass the turn here. My opponent's probably an Urza Saga deck. Dress down, sure. So this is probably a blue-white Stifle Knot deck. That's not unexpected. My Opalescence is now actually not good enough, right? I don't outclock Phyrexian Dreadnought since I tried to play around days. And it being held back defensively is still a problem, too. Maybe I was a coward. What if we, crop rotation as bait here? Try to get crop rotation countered. That Opalescence has a better chance at resolving. It just resolved. I didn't actually want that to resolve. Awkward. Here we are. 19. Okay. Days? Question mark? Sure. Keep this one. So there's Opalescence around days. Okay, my stuff resolved. I'm passing the turn here. Next turn, Serra's Sanctum taps for 3. So I can attack for 12. But my opponent's going to get the second attack first. I am at 7. This is 12. I guess we could try to triple block a Dreadnought, but that sure doesn't feel good. So second Opalescence. Attacking for 12 does nothing, so we're just going to pass the turn and see if things get awkward. Dress down, which is an enchantment, like a creature. Null Drifter. That Annihilator thing is just real bad, everything else aside. So, I am not going to block with both copies of Opalescence. I don't think I can win if I do that. I'm going to block like this, and 1 Swords to Plowshares is ruinous. I accept, yeah. So that makes the first Opalescence not a creature anymore, which is real bad. The other way I could play that turn is just chump block. Oh shit, Dress Down is not leaving anymore. It, as a creature, has lost its own ability to sacrifice itself. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wow, this is weird. So, I could play a creature, trump block the Dreadnought, take 6, don't get annihilated because the dress down is sticking around. But I don't think I have a path to victory from there. We're not really a card advantage deck. But boy, that's a weird situation. Here, I don't think I like Scion. I think my opponent is going to be too good at removing random creatures. I think I just straight up want another mana source over like one counterable crop rotation. This opening hand cannot produce mana. No good. This opening hand cannot produce mana. No good. I can powder it. Let's put an Opalescence back in the deck. This hand has no lands. Sorry, no Leylines. And does not have a payoff card. We'll powder this one as well. This is fine. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Serra Sanctum. Pass turn. In upkeep, or any mana gets around, let's search up our Opalescence, which I can cast next turn. So assuming no counterspell, this is the dream. So, how lucky are we? Are we Opalescence lucky? Okay, it's in play. 12? 8? Okay. YouTube, I think we've done it. I think we have killed someone with Leylines. That Ponder is not good enough. Urza's Saga. So Urza's Saga is a creature with base power and toughness equal to 0. Get wrecked. We have 1 game win on the board. We've done it. Video's a success. Video's a success. We did it. Now, let's see if we can do it again. Let's whack the submit button and hope that we can. Fuck yeah. That's 3 Leylines plus 2 Opalescences and the mana to do them. This is, in fact, what I would like to see. I was just going to make their land drop and pass. So let's Mana Confluence and pass the turn here. And I'm not going to pull the trigger on Enlightened Tutor yet. My opponent's got Ancient Tomb. I'm going to wait until end step, because if I get Wastelanded, I don't want this to be another Opalescence. I want this to be Lotus Petal. I did not get Wastelanded. So we E-Tutor. This is Opalescence number 2. And my opponent does not know that I have 2 of them. So we'll cast 1. It gets Force of Willed, but we're ready for the next one. No, don't dress down. Don't do that. Let's talk about this. 3rd land drop. That's a Null Drifter. Very bad for me. Hopefully Opalescence just resolves. The second counterspell here would be rough. Okay, we're getting in there. Send it. The opponent's going to block. They're going to take 8. They could double remove these. That is definitely possible for a blue-white control deck. But maybe they won't. Oh, it's the Urza Saga straight to the yard again because of Opalescence. We got an O from the opponent. Yeah. No, it feels bad. All right, that's Doorkeeper Thrall and Phyrexian Dreadnought, unfortunately. So now I need to go wide of Phyrexian Dreadnought. The white is only one of the colors in this Leyline. Can cast a Serum Powder. Can't cast any of these other Leylines right now. So we're chilling. My opponent probably just gets to punch me in the face with Dreadnought here. And everything is like perfectly fine with that. So that is an evoked Null Drifter, which doesn't get sacrificed because Doorkeeper Thrall things. Opponent's deck seems cool. I like the Ancient Tomb tech here. I don't know that I like the attack with this. This on defense blocks either one of these very easily. I'll take the full 12. I just think that this pretty much always kills me the next time. And the only way I win is if I somehow squeeze out something silly this turn. Which I did not do. I can make my opponent block with Null Drifter if I attack with both, but then I die to this. All right. That was a matchup of very strange rules interactions. GG's. Okay. This opening hand does not produce mana. This one is no good. This second hand has 3 Leylines and 3 mana towards Opalescence, but I have to throw back 1 card. I think I keep it. I think I get rid of Leyline of Punishment. This starts the game with 2 Leylines in play, and my lands are now Rainbow lands. Misty. There's a Leyline that I can potentially hardcast in a bit. We're not going anywhere fast. The math is frankly not in favor of going anywhere fast. This is potentially Nadu again. Like Misty and pass. Sure. Cool. Now I have redundancy for Opalescence, which is great. And we'll just see how quickly my opponent goldfishes us. If they are a Bant control deck, we've got time. If they are a Nadu deck, maybe not so much. Urza's Saga. That will die to an Opalescence. I think that is confirmation that my opponent is probably a Nadu deck. Well, I mean, yeah. We don't have to take damage from Mana Confluence here. Daze is obviously very good. We want to just jam this turn, though, because if we can destroy Urza's Saga before it tutors up Shuko, that is very, very preferable. Also an interaction that I think is very easy to miss. Our last opponent was very surprised by that interaction. All right. Once more. Opalescence. Boo! Opponent hates fun. And the Narcomoeba there is all the extra confirmation we need that our opponent is doing Nadu. Specifically, that lets us know that they are doing a Cephalid Breakfast build. They will have Cephalid Illusionist as a combo piece as well. Opponent is brainstorming to get a shuffle off of Urza's Saga here. And they can also decide whether or not they want the Construct token to beat me down with, or whether they want to just do fair mana stuff. Sorry, fair construct stuff. They do want to do fair construct stuff. Note that this will just by itself kill me quickly, right? So I get attacked for 4. That's going to bring me to 16. And then assuming no more artifacts, this is still a 3-turn clock. I will continue to cast enchantments, so that if we draw another Opalescence, I have, potentially the ability to crack my opponent for 16. But my odds are not good here. We'll concede here. I believe that I am past the point of letting the Nadu player click through their combo on the channel. Unless I have like an onboard win if they don't do something very specific. Okay, my opponent had multiple counterspells this time. I know that they have Daze. Get the Scions in there. Get an extra mana source in there. Let's go down Helm of Obedience. My opponent targeting me? Probably not. That's a very castable Leyline, though. Let's pick a different color Leyline. Red Leyline. I only need to wear out 3. 1 Leyline, 2 Leyline. The ability to tutor for Serra Sanctum. The ability to tutor for an extra Opalescence. I'm just so unlikely to draw the extra mana source, though. So if I turn, say, City of Brass into Serra's Sanctum, that's 2 mana, 3 mana with Mana Confluence. I would have to, Enlighten Tutor for a Lotus Petal to guarantee my next land drop from there. That doesn't feel great. Do I want to try to high roll harder? I think I do. This is Mana Confluence, 3 Leylines, no payoff for Leylines, no Leyline of the Guild Pact for this. Let's powder this. I'm going to put a Scion back into my deck. Potentially try to line that up with a Leyline. So this is 1 Leyline for Opalescence. I can crop rotation for my stuff. I don't think this is acceptable. Let's regular mulligan this. This is a 5-card hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 probably. On 5, I probably need to think about keeping this. The Leylines keep me from losing to Cephalid Illusionist combo, but I still need more out of this hand. Before my opponent can daze this, let's attempt to throw an Opalescence on top of Library. We succeed. That doesn't mean the Opalescence is going to resolve. I will also need to draw another mana to get me to it. We need a lot here still. So let's Serra Sanctum and pass. Tundra. Well, at least we're not dead. Leyline of the Guild Pact. Nope. This is where we need a Serum Powder, a land, a Lotus Petal to get to the 4th mana so that I can theoretically attack for 8. Oh, it's just gonna get in there. The fairway. Nomads, sure. Very dead to a Nadu dropping. Also pretty dead to just like 1 days. Okay, less dead to 1 days, but you'll need some stuff. Is that the green land for Nadu? That is the green land for Nadu. That's my opponent drawing 6 cards this turn, 6 cards next turn. We're safely losing to that. Okay. This opening hand has 4 Leylines. It has the ability to crop rotation for Serra Sanctum, but no ability to Opalescence. So we have to mulligan. We're gonna keep this one. We're gonna keep this one. Don't look though. Don't look at what we're about to do. So we need to draw a land to crop rotation for Serra Sanctum to swing for 16. That's the plan. If we keep the Lotus Petal, then the Serra Sanctum is only tapping for 3. So I think this is the way to play this. All right, it looks like we've got probably a Delver start here, which means that even if we draw the land, crop rotation is not guaranteed to resolve here. What if we just got really lucky, huh? Would that be fine? We're taking a beating this league. So there's the Bauble redraw. That is not the land that we're looking for. So, damage report, how bad is this going to be? That's a Delver. That is not a land. And then opponent can do a Surveil land at their end of turn to try to flip the Delver. No. Brainstorm? Brainstorm to flip the Delver. That'll do. So this Delver is now going to flip. Flips to Brainstorm. I'm on a 7-turn clock. Looks like my opponent is probably playing blue-red Delver, and the green will just potentially be for some sideboard cards and Questing Druid. Really missing on the land drop. At this point, it's also pretty likely that my opponent just has a counterspell, so when I crop rotation, it is not guaranteed to be enough. That is a Lightning Bolt. We're okay versus Lightning Bolt, but, you know, there are some bugs here. Yep. So now if I draw Serra Sanctum or any other land, I attack for 16, but that's not actually good enough. I'm going to get hit for 9, and then I think just be dead. Opponent brainstorms, and we whiff on lands yet again. We are fully dead. We had the potential for this hand to do the thing, but that potential was not realized. Let's get the Scions in here. Rip is just a reasonable card, I guess, to play. Let's go Helms out. Then, I don't know, maybe we go down on some crop rotations. They're pretty devastating if they get countered. Go up one of these, just play another fair land. Maybe I need to go down a mix of E-Tutor and that. Maybe I need to go down some Leylines. We'll talk about this in a minute, but this deck needs a lot to go right. So this has 2 Leylines. That's not enough. No payoff here. Let's powder this hand. This second hand has 2 Leylines, 2 lands, and Opalescence. Can cast Opalescence on turn 3. The Scion of Draco is not doing anything this game. So this is already a 6-card hand. I think I'm going to keep this, and I think we are going to lose when this is countered. Alright, we start with 2 Leylines in play. We'll play out Mana Confluence first. That way that can potentially get countered. Opponent fetches and leads on a DRC. We'll just make our land drop and pass. There is some tension between wanting to play this around a potential daze and needing to jam to end this game. If I do something other than play Opalescence and pass the turn with a Serra Sanctum in play, Wasteland becomes absolutely brutal. I also take 2 damage anytime I cast a spell. I am going to get got by Wasteland here and drop a Leyline of Sanctity. This allows me to play around Daze next turn in theory, because this will now produce 3 mana. But casting this spell might cost me 5 life, 2 from my Mana Confluences, and potentially 3 from this attacking. Seek the Beast. Price of Progress. Oh god. And Daze. Price of Progress is real bad. So I get countered. 2 card types in graveyard. I imagine my opponent will cast Price of Progress this turn. Yeah, it's pretty hard to pass up on that much damage. So I'm at 11. I'm only taking 1 here, thankfully. But this is not very likely to resolve, right? I think I have to jam now, just mathematically speaking. I don't get to tap these mana confluences very many times. Another daze just gets me here. Yeah, there's still only... Yeah, that's a beating. So I'm taking 2 damage per turn cycle, and any turn cycle where I do mana confluence stuff is worse than that. I think this is the point where I can no longer win. This is an 0-5 league where we put a single win on the board, and I think I've been recording for an hour and a half or less. Well, we obviously got our butts kicked. So let's talk about why. And you look down at the bottom of the video, this video isn't over yet. We're not giving up. So a couple of things here. Number one, the crop rotations and enlightened tutors did not feel very good. They are good when everything goes right. If you have the 4 Leylines, converting your City of Brass into Serra Sanctum to go for that win is awesome. But with so many of our opening hands, we weren't actually getting enough Leylines to do our thing. Serra Sanctum was not tapping for 4 mana. And Enlightened Tutor taking time to get us to the Opalescence was a really big deal. Our Nadu opponents were goldfishing us on turn 3. We didn't play against Oops, but that's something that can kill us on turn 1. Another issue was if one counterspell, one Thoughtseize, one any relevant effect resolved, we were falling apart. So our house of cards here was very, very fragile. So we need too many cards to win, and we're too fragile. So we're going to go back to the drawing board here. We are going to chalk this one up as a loss, and we're going to play a little bit more Magic today. So I went to my Mox field. Seamless integrated ad here. I went to my Mox field. Mox field is great because you get to keep all your old crazy deck lists that you make. And I went to my Mox field. I found my old Bello, Leylines, Yorion deck list. I watched my conclusion from my previous Bello Leylines, and I dug into my Mox field lists, and here's what I came up with. So let's try to solve the problems that our first list had. Problem 1. One counterspell was damning. Well, this is an enchantment creature that can contribute to our count for Serra Sanctum, which is great. It can also help when we flood out, and we have mana and we don't have something else to do. We can turn lands into creatures. That seems perfectly fine. Another problem was that we weren't getting to 4 mana to cast our things, so how about we run a Mana Dork? And this is a Mana Dork that is going to get powered up by our various Leylines, so thumbs up there. Bello is going to give us redundancy for Opalescence, meaning we don't need to mulligan as much, and Zur will do the same thing. Zur is slower, but offers some lifelink. And the lifelink is a really big deal versus a matchup like Delver, where we might take a beating in the early game, and then if we do our thing, we could gain 12 life in a turn and totally swing things back. We are going to have some small amount of disruption here that is also synergistic with the enchantment theme of the deck, and we can squeeze this whole Scion of Draco thing into the main deck here. The biggest thing that we're doing is just adding in a bunch of lands. We're a Yorion deck now. We can kind of afford to do that. We are at a land count of 32, which is fine. It maybe needs to be a touch more. I ran Chrome Mox previously when I did this. I'm going to try out Sanctum Weaver and see how that feels this time. And I threw together a sideboard. We're mostly curious about the main deck theory here. I think Carpet of Flowers is maybe the most interesting thing that we can do versus fair blue decks. And I think that's almost interesting enough to just try it in the main deck. So we're going to go into a bonus league. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to finish the entire thing, but I've still got a little bit of time left in this recording session. So let's see if we can redeem ourselves. Previously, when we played with Bello Leylines, I went 1-4, but I thought that the idea was really solid. So let's try another game or two. Okay, so this opening hand can start with a Serra Sanctum and just put Yorion into hand on turn 1. I don't quite have the right mana for Zur. Leyline Binding is not perfect here. I think this one is close, but is a mulligan. Yeah. No, this is what we wanted, right? So this is Leyline of the Guild Pack into Scion of Draco into Zur. We'll keep one of these two cards for later. Which one is it? I really like the idea of attacking with a Leyline binding. All right, Leyline, Blooded Strand, and a Ponder. We will just drop a land and pass. Note here, we don't really need to fetch Arrakis. Actually, slightly annoying here. I am thinking about whether or not I want to deny my opponent a clue or two by casting this Leyline Binding now, because it can just attack with Zur later. Otherwise, a lot of times I'm not casting this until turn 4. So this is sort of a weird, inefficient use of a card. And my opponent can just bounce their Tamiyo. And this is all according to plan here. So boop and boop. Okay, I mean, it's in play. And we denied our opponent a clue to help them get out of this. Uro is fine. 22. Wasteland. Obviously, that's quite good. That is keeping me off of my Zur immediately. Send in. And this does have lifelink. First strike, hexproof, lifelink, trample, vigilance. Many words. That is my opponent's own Leyline Binding, unfortunately. Answering mine. So I'm now going to need to actually fetch. So both lands that I fetch need to have a color for Zur. You've got a color. We've got bug. I'd like to pick up white here. That's fine. That's picking up red. So Plateau is not fetchable off of Misty. So I should have done this the other way. Bulk, blue, black, white. Bulk is fine. I don't have every color now. I'm missing some white. I guess Caracas is awkward. So Zur is more interesting at 5 mana. Whoops. Caracas good. Opponent is intrigued by my City of Brass. So I also guess that my opponent's random Caracas that they have is also problematic for, it's like 4th Aerlingas. It's also problematic for my Yorion later. Oh, it's Uro coming back. I didn't realize we were already at that many cards in graveyard. Sure. So I guess I'm going to put a Yorion to hand. I'll take 1 from that. And Yorion bouncing this Leyline to answer Uro is something that I can play towards. I'm taking 6 here, and my opponent's getting extra resources. Not a fan. Tamiyo comes back. My opponent draws a card. Tamiyo goes Planeswalker mode. And I should probably consider conceding this game relatively quickly. I think this is kind of the point where my opponent has 3 different card advantage engines in play. Despite the fact that I can stop their counterspells, I think we're okay to move on to the next game, where my Carpet of Flowers are probably very good. Rest in Peace to stop Uro is definitely a thing that I could do. I don't really know that I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to turn Sanctum Weaver into Carpet of Flowers, replace that mana stuff, and call the rest good. My legendary creatures that my deck are built around are definitely in danger versus that Caracas, but there's not really anything that I can do about that. Opening hand has multiple Carpet of Flowers, a Leyline, a Scion of Draco. Let's assume that this works out somehow. I don't think I have to cast the Carpet immediately. Let's do a land and pass. I don't think I'd want to just throw Carpet of Flowers directly into Prismatic Ending here. So I want a tri-land bug into Plateau into Scion is fine. And then we can do Carpet of Flowers, Opalescence stuff. So fetch. So now we'll Scion. I could end up cycling this with bonus mana from Carpet of Flowers. Opponent fetches. We want them to get some islands, and then I do cool Carpet of Flowers things. 2 mana up the beanstalk. Sure. Green? First main phase, Carpet of Flowers. This is essentially free. Send it. 15. Second main phase. Yes. Make green. Use that to play a new Carpet of Flowers. And next turn I can do Leyline plus Scion plus Opalescence, maybe? I'll go ahead and play this as a land. There's a fetch land. Opponent intentionally choosing non-white cards. Our Leyline of the Guild Pack doesn't quite come down fast enough, which is unfortunate. So yes, make green. Let's go yes, make green. We're just casting this one this turn. And then next turn is pretty hot. Next turn I attack for 10 while also making a spooky little guy. Oh no. So Carpet of Flowers is pretty insidious in this matchup. So that is 3 mana for my opponent due to my Leyline. And the same will be true of my opponent's Leylines, right? If they play a Leyline of the Guild Pact, I go wild. Bello. Okay, so this is 1 mana, right? This is 1 mana. So I have 5 mana. I guess we'll save Opalescence for a turn. So I guess you're the bait. So that is a double cantripping up the beanstalk Force of Will. Now we try to do the card that actually matters, which is Bello. This is an attack for 8. Bello only turns the big enchantments into dudes. No! So my opponent can just nuke Bello here, turn these back into regular old enchantments. And then I think we get to slam one more Haymaker next turn. I get to slam the Opalescence next turn and attempt to 2-turn clock my opponent with Leylines and Carpet of Flowers. But my opponent gets so much mana from Carpet. This is something with a weird cost. Thanks, I hate it. I mean, that gets rid of my opponent's up the beanstalks, but never mind. All right, I think we can tap out here. GG's, that was brutal, but that was a great proof of concept. We played Magic that game, whereas we didn't in most of our previous games. Let's do one more reasonable match here. We have a pretty average looking hand here. I have 1 Leyline. I have a Destiny Spinner that can make a Zur uncounterable. So that means what? On turn 4, I can be attacking for 7, some of which is lifelink. Let's see where it goes. We're very much in wild-ass experimentation stage right now. Opponent says, hello, aggressive, and concedes game 1. Okay. We're going to bring in Rest in Peace and Deafening Silence against what is presumably Oops All Spells or something like it. Let's keep Leyline binding for sideboard jukes. Making my stuff uncounterable probably doesn't matter here. And some amount of this stuff gets trimmed. Let's go down 2 Zur, 1 Sanctum Weaver. My opponent has kept a 7-card hand. I have a turn 2 Rest in Peace. I know that my opponent's deck loses to Graveyard Hate. Do I want to mulligan for Leyline of the Void in my Yorion deck? If they can't go off on turn 1, they probably Thoughtseize me and take Rest in Peace. Let's mulligan. No. This is 5. Let's continue to say no. This is great. This is a very strong 4-card hand. We'll get rid of Leyline Binding. We will get rid of Zur. And then the last one's tough. It honestly might be land, and I keep Hexproof, so discard spells don't take Deafening Silence, and then I have Leyline plus Deafening Silence plus Leyline of Sanctity for Goblin Charbelcher, and I just have to draw mana. We're going to do that. I am enjoying this. It is Once Upon a Time. Finding an Archamoeba. Absolutely. Dark Ritual. Boggart Trawler. I still might lose to this, but we have a very, very real chance at winning this game on a mulligan to 4. Take 3. And now we need to draw mana. I only need to draw 1 mana, and then I get Bello. Bello kills my opponent so incredibly quickly here, but I do need to draw that. There's a land. My opponent, I think, has just realized that their discard spells don't work. So we got a free Lightning Bolt, which is like super relevant here. Oh, come on, deck. I went 7. Opponent takes some damage. Has a Spirit Guide. Yep. So this is not perfect here, but I might be okay. I take 5, go to 1, but I can put Opalescence into play. So bam. Now I have 3 different bodies. And in case my opponent has a removal spell here, I'm going to hold all the extra bodies. back. I'm not going to try to do chip damage here. All right, cool. I think we have stabilized at 1 life. Actually, I guess Leyline of Combustion first is better. Or is Bello just better? Do Leyline. Bello doesn't save me if my opponent removes stuff. And do we care about chip damage yet? Slash, do I care about my opponent double blocking a Leyline? I think I care about my opponent double blocking a Leyline right now. Maybe I need to end this game, though, because I know my opponent has a flyer. Blue mana is just really hard. All right, that is a Charbelcher. And this is why I talked about double blocking a Leyline being something that I care about. Now let's go white for a Leyline of Hope. We'll put a land into play that I can't use. I'll go to Punchies. I'm comfortable attacking with this one for sure. And then next turn, I think I play Bello and my opponent dies. Another Boggart Trawler. Sure. So I need to get 2 4/4s through. Currently 1 4/4 is getting through. Bello changes that. I go red or Leyline. I go green or Bello. That gives haste. Now I can very easily go to combat and send it all in. 3 4/4s get blocked. I still have multiple 4/4s beyond that. You know, feel pretty good about stopping the video there. That's how you Opalescence. I think if you want to be doing Opalescence, trying to build Leylines in the way that you did in like 2010, I think is just not going to do it anymore. I think you need to go into this more mid-range shell. You don't have interaction. You don't have protection when you build it as an all-in version. But this looks a lot better. Plus, we spiked a match versus Oops All Spells, so that's fantastic. Folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. I hope this has kind of redeemed this video. And if you need some cards, remember, use promo code ThrabenU to save yourself a little bit of money over at toamagic.com. Now, if you'll excuse me, those trees from the intro, we gotta go talk, because my face feels so puffy. See ya!